What's up, guys? Hope you're having a good Tuesday, and today I'm here to bring you another deck profile. Last week I brought you Magic-Key, my favorite deck. And now I've got to bring you what is my favorite meta deck. And I say meta because Magic-Key is nothing more than Rogue, and I feel like that's where it's going to sit at for the rest of its existence. But there's still some other stuff I can show you guys. So, I have constructed Bird Up Tri-Brigade Lyrilusc, and I've found it to be a fun deck. I finally got it to where I got the ratios correctly, I think that this is a deck that could take me far if I ever go into some, public tournaments. So we're just gonna go ahead and get started with 3 copies of Tri-Brigade, yes, Lyrilusc, Turquoise Warbler. Specials from your hand, you get another Lyrilusc on the field. Bird Call makes this card a god card, so just keep that in mind. Then we have 2 copies of Barrel Canary. This is basically an extender if you get like Nibiru or something, or it's something good to pitch off of, it's something good to search and then pitch off of a Karis or something like that. Then we have 2 copies of Sapphire Swallow. This is basically the same as Warbler, although you can't like special it off Bird Call and get its beneficial effect of special summon another that way. You'll have to basically manual that. And then you got 2 copies of Celestine Wagtail and 2 copies of Cobalt Sparrow. These are your search cards. Basically, you want to search this off of Bird Call if it's in your opening hand, and you special out Turquoise Warbler, and then that specials this out because it's special from the hand. Or if you have Celestine Wagtail, you could search the Bird Call. If you special summon, you could just special summon Warbler if you draw into this in Wagtail. And also Wagtail can get you like Bird Sanctuary if you've already used Bird Call that turn, because you can only use them once per turn. Then we have our Tri-Brigade package, which begins with 3 copies of Fractal, 1 secret rare, that way it can only be negated by the original printing of Ash Blossom. That's a joke, by the way. You can negate any card with any card. Then we have, I don't need to tell you what Fractal does, right? Fractal, you pitch this, you pitch Kit pitches Nerval, and then Nerval, which is this card, I got 1 ultra rare from the Megatons. Nerval searches out Karis. Or if you open with this in Karis, you can pitch it and then get Fractal, and you can get Karis on board with that. 1 copy of Kit, 1 copy of Karis, because these are the 2 that this gets you more bodies in the graveyard, as well as this gets you, this is what you're going to be doing your Tri-Brigade plays with. You got 2 extenders in Kinkabio. This is basically going to, if you basically get Nibiru just like Barrel Canary, or if you draw into this and you haven't used your normal summon, which the best hand in this deck does not use its normal summon, so you can Kinkabio to get even more board presence. Say you want to put up like an Ensemble as well, in addition to the board I'm going to show you. Got 1 copy of Apex Avian and 1 copy of DD Crow if you run out of search targets for Recital. And then Apex Avian, this special's from the deck with Simor. I don't need to tell you guys, because it's just constant. You can constantly keep placing it back down on the field for more negations with Simor at the end of every end phase. Now into the spells, right? You have 3 copies of Bird Call. Mandatory. This is basically the main playmaker in the deck. This is why you put the Lyrilusc in there in the first place. Then you have Where Art Thou at 2. This can either get you the Nerval to your hand, or get you Warbler to your hand if you have to cope with something else. Bird Sanctuary at 1. This gets you more draws whenever you get your UFD up, so you can get more into your hands. Speaking of draws, you have Ring Requital. Basically, whenever you're starting your combo, if this is in your hand, you can play it, pay 600, get 2 cards, more for your combo. At 1, though, because there's going to be some times where you don't start with the Lyrilusc combos and all that, and you have Fire Formation Tanky, because this is your 4th copy of Fractal. Because that's the only card that searches in the deck. You've also got Monster Reborn for, I guess if you get Nibiru, you can bring it back, but it's also good for extension to like make a link play if you need. We also, for the interaction spells, we have 2 Forbidden Droplets and a copy of Called by the Grave. Forbidden Droplet, I realize, is going to price some people out of the deck. But this can be Dark Ruler no more if you want to go second. But this is either to stop your opponent's turn dead in its tracks if you draw into it on your first hand, if you get it on the draw or on the play. Or rather, if you get it on the play, you can stop your opponent's turn dead in their tracks. They try to do something, you flip up Droplet, and it stops their turn. Say they try to set with Dagda from the deck, you can Droplet the Dagda. If you got cards in your hand, of course. Which one of the combos I'm going to show you ends with no cards in hand, but it's fine. And you have Call by the Grave because hand traps are quite the problem if you are not prepared for them. This is really a hand trap meta. Also, my Microsoft account has a problem apparently. And you have 2 copies of Tri-Brigade Revolt because this copy does play Barabrum. This deck does play Barabrum. And then you also have 3 copies of Harpy's Featherstorm because 9 times out of like 4 times, even if you open badly, if you open with like 1 Tri-Brigade in hand and a couple of your Lyriluscs, you're going to put up a board that has a Wind Wing Beast monster in it. So you're going to be able to activate that effect and lock your opponent on their turn. And then Revolt is to pop a Sure Egg on your opponent's turn. And now, I'm not going to show off the side deck because the side deck is basically Lightning Storm, Dark Ruler, Ash Blossom, stuff like that. It's just hand traps, right? It's hand traps and board breakers. So for the extra deck, we have our Tri-Brigade monsters. We have 1 copy of Farragut, 1 copy of Sure Egg, and 1 copy of Barabrum, as well as a single copy of Tri-Brigade Rugal, if you want to go into this with Revolt. Farragut is good if you have another Tri-Brigade in your hand. This can also special summon Warbler if you draw into Warbler, and then Warbler's effect will activate. So that's also really good that you can go into. And then we have Barabrum. Barabrum can special a Tri-Brigade that you've banished off of Karis effect if you made it with that. You do have to discard 2, but you'll find that that's worth it more often than not because it puts more bodies in the graveyard. And then you have Sure Egg, which is most of the time what you're going to use Revolt on to make. But you also have Silver Sheller, which allows you to get you a Tri-Brigade monster, or Lyrilusc again, to your side of the field in your opponent's turn in the end phase, to go into Sure Egg on your turn to start picking their board apart with a non-targeting banish. Then we have our non-Tri-Brigade cards, which I'm sure you see the first one in my hand here. Apollosa. Just really good for negating monster effects. It's really good for things like Nibiru, although this deck already has like an answer to Nibiru that you're going to make first, depending on what you're drawn to. And then you have some more Bird of Sovereignty. This is going to get you your Mist Valley Apex Avian at the end phase, as well as if it's on your opponent's end phase, if I read this card correctly. So it's just during the end phase. Doesn't say it has to be during your turn. You can also special summon a Cobalt Sparrow, search a Warbler, and get things rolling again. You also have Boral Sword Dragon, OTK Machine, Sky Thunder, OTK Machine, and then you have the Lyrilusc Xyz of Ensemble, free bounces, Assembled Nightingale. If you end up getting a big this is also another reason you would run Bird Sanctuary in the deck. If you get like a big massive Lyrilusc boys on the field, or rather girls, you're gonna go into Assembled Nightingale, Bird Sank it on top of another, and then you just attack for game that way. Then you have 3 copies of Recital Starling. This is like a main search card, and I wouldn't be surprised if this got hit to 1 because it completely ruins the ability to go into UFD with it. Because then you have to go into something like Assembled Nightingale or Ensemble, which is still not bad. It's not terrible, but it's better to go in Recital Starling. That way you get some searches before you go into it. That is the deck. That is the deck before siding, rather. And I feel as though all that's left to do now is to go into some combos for you guys. I will cut to that. Okay, so this is these 3 cards. I just put the 2 droplets there as just as because it could be any 2 cards, so I just put 2 droplets here because it kind of doesn't matter. This can be Fractal. This is just here to show you that it's here to search Fractal. So you would start with Tanky. You would hopefully not run into the Ash Blossom here, even though this is like the perfect target for it. You grab your Fractal. You would send Fractal to grave, which would then send Kit, which would then send Nerval, and then that would add Karis to hand. That's 3 bodies in the graveyard for your Tri-Brigade plays. Then you would go Bird Call. You would grab yourself a Cobalt Sparrow for your troubles, and then use the second effect to special summon Warbler from the hand, and then Warbler would special summon the Cobalt Sparrow you just added. Sparrow would add a Sapphire Swallow to your hand. Then you would go into... You would get yourself a lovely little slice of Recital Starling. Recital Starling, you would detach Warbler. And now it can't be targeted by card effects. So I think that means it can't, like... It probably can be stopped. I'm just tripping. You would grab a Celestine Wagtail. And then you would Sapphire Swallow effect, get the Wagtail out. Wagtail would get you Bird Sanctuary. You would place Bird Sanctuary down even though you haven't made your second recital yet. You make the recital. You would detach to get another search. It really could be anything. So for the sake of it, we're just gonna grab a Barrel Canary because effect hasn't been used yet. And we're going to overlay, because these go away whenever you do that, into F0 and then UFD, and at this point you're safe. If they don't Nibiru you at this point, you are safe because you could just negate the monster effect. And then you would draw a card off of this. I'm just going to pick like a random card because the card you get does not matter. You're going to be placing it back under the deck. It was a Werewolf Thou, which would actually be good. It actually would not. You would discard the Barrel Canary for Karis. Karis effect. You would banish. Nerval Kit and Barrel Canary. Just because it's nondescript level 1 Wing Beast is basically what we'll refer to that card as. You actually don't even have to do that. I just realized Bear Broom is a Link 2. You would... Where did I put my Bear Broom? There it is. You would make a Bear Broom. You'd make Bear Broom. Bear Broom effect. You would discard 2. Special summon your Nerval. Not there, of course. You would use your Nerval's effect. Banishing nondescript level 1 Wing Beast. This and this. Just in case you draw into like a Barrel Canary next turn. For your Simor. Then you would link these 3 off into Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess, which would search a Revolt to hand, and you would put this on the bottom of your deck. You would set this, and since it's the first turn, there would be exactly 7 slots open, which makes you able to get the Apex Avian. And that is one of the combos this deck can produce. This is honestly, and it's very consistent, because you basically have 4 copies of Fractal, so this is like not necessary. So you can Fractal effect regardless, and then you have you're running 3 Warbler, you're running 3 Bird Call. It's actually super consistent. To get this, I've done test hands on it before. It's very good. It's a very strong deck. This is a very strong board. You got a negate on him, you got 3 monster negates on her, and then you have just any effect can be negated by this. So you essentially have 5 negates on board, and you got a Revolt that you can flip up to... You flip up this to get more pressure if your board gets broken. So that is going to be the deck profile for today, along with a combo for it. I'm going to edit this down and have this up tomorrow, because I'm recording this on Monday. And I will see you guys when I see you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new. And that is going to be all. Bye, everybody.